Hi, welcome to my channel. I am very happy you are here today. My name is Miranda, the Glam Teacher, and I am a full-time elementary school teacher, and I'm also a professional makeup artist. So I am here today to do a video for you about brushes. I get tons of questions about brushes. How do you use them? How do you know what you need, etc. So I was just going to do a short run through of what the different types of brushes are and what they are good for. So we will kick it off with some information on eyeshadow brushes. Alright, so of course there are just hundreds of different brushes in the world. I feel like they mostly all fit into a certain style and they just vary based on the brand that you are getting. So I'll show you some of the different eye brushes that I use the most and why I use them. So the first type of brush that you will definitely want to look into is just a flat shader brush. So these brushes are very flat. They're a little bit dense, and the fibers will just depend on the brand and the style of brush that you get. So brushes can either have synthetic fibers or natural hair fibers. So you'll want to use a different brush depending on the type of product that you're going to use. So certain brushes are better for cream products and some brushes are better for powder products. So these are two eyeshadow shader brushes that I own. I like them pretty equally. These brushes are great for getting a dense application onto the eyelid. So when I use these brushes, I typically just pack the eyeshadow onto it and then I just press it on to my eyelid. So it gives you a stronger color payoff because the fibers are so dense. The other type of shader brush that you'll run into is a shader brush that has a little bit softer of fibers. They're just a little fluffier on the end. So this one is a very small shader brush and this one is a little bit larger. So the smaller one I prefer when I'm trying to get into smaller areas. So if I need to be a little more precise, I'll use this one. The larger one I use a lot though. These ones are great because you are still going to get dense color payoff, but it's going to soften it out more for you. So while these really flat shader brushes will leave harsher edges, these ones will be a little bit softer in their application. I typically like to use these types of brushes up at the brow bone here because when you wiggle it out, it just diffuses the eyeshadow for you. It makes it a little bit easier to quickly apply makeup when you need to get a blend on it too. So because they are still dense, you can press it on and pack on color, and then you can use the softer end to just blend it out a little bit. Now, that's not going to work like your blending brushes. It will give you a slight blend, but not the same as using a blending brush. So there are tons of different types of blending brushes that you can buy. These are two of my most used blending brushes. They just work really well to soften out the eyeshadow, diffuse the color, get rid of any harsh lines, and just merge two colors together seamlessly so that you don't really see where one color stops and the other color begins. They just kind of blend into each other. So when you look at blending brushes, the softer brush is going to have a better blend. So when you look at this brush, the fibers have a lot of play to them, more so than this one. This one is more dense. If you push down on the top, this one has a lot more give to it. So this brush will give you a better blend than this brush, which is more dense. So why would you want to use this blending brush if this one will give you a better blend? Well, this one will give you a more precise blend. So because it's more dense, it has a really nice point to the top where it's dome shaped, and it's going to keep everything really concentrated right in here for you. Whereas this one, it still does have that dome. You can concentrate it, but because it is so much fluffier, it does not hold its shape as well as this one, because this one is more dense. Then this one will give you a more blown out blend, which could be the look that you are going for. So it depends on how concentrated you want the color to remain when you're blending it. That depends how soft you really want the brush to be. So those are two things to look for in a blending brush. So knowing that about blending brushes, what you also need to consider are if you have synthetic fibers or natural fibers in your brush. So natural fibers are made up of animal hair. So if you have a brush that's made with animal hair, those brushes are going to hold up very well. They're extremely durable, and the application with the brush actually improves over time. So natural fibers on your brushes, they're a great investment. Brushes with natural fibers, those are really great for powder-based products. The natural fibers are going to pick up more product at once on the brush, so they're easier to load, and they work great for anything like a bronzer, an eyeshadow, anything powder-based. Synthetic fiber brushes, those work much better with cream or liquid products. You still can use them with powder products, but they're better than a natural hairbrush for cream or liquid products. The natural brushes will absorb more of the product. So if you get a synthetic brush, it's going to give you a better application with anything cream or liquid based. For some of my blending brushes, I like to also use them to blend out concealer or a highlighting cream, anything like that. So it's good to have a mixture of both natural and synthetic if you can. Then you get into what I call specialty brushes. So these are brushes that I think you use with a more specific purpose, whereas with the shaders and the blending brushes, you just use them all the time. So these ones will come with a very specific purpose. There is a pencil brush, which is very popular. This brush is great for precision. So it's really nice if you need to just get it right into the inner corner of your eye, something in a very small spot. If you're doing some darker colors on the outer third of your eye, you can really just work them in. If you want something really precise in your crease, you can do it with this pencil brush. So this gives you a lot of precision. It also is great for concealer if you wanted to just spot treat certain areas with concealer. So a pencil brush is something that I use quite often. You will also find sometimes angled shadow brushes. I think that these are great if you know how to use them. It still is not my favorite brush that I own, but it fits really perfectly into your crease here. So this could be a really great brush to start out with if you're just starting to use crease colors. So it fits just perfectly in there. The angle will drag it in the correct way for you, and it's still soft enough on the edges that it will do some blending for you. So this is a very soft brush. Next, there are tons of different eyeliner brushes. I only have two here. I don't use a wide variety of eyeliner brushes. I think when you are getting into eyeliner brushes, you have to just find the one that works for you and stick with it. So this isn't something I tend to experiment in. I know what a brush works. I know what I can use quickly and get the job done, and I tend to stay there. So I have a flat eyeliner brush. It's just very thin, super dense. So there's no wiggle to this brush at all. Quite often I find that if you just draw a pencil directly onto your eye, it doesn't look that clean. It could kind of look jagged. It can go like way further up your eyelid than you wanted it to. So what I tend to do with this brush is I will draw the eyeliner onto the tip of this brush, and then instead of the pencil, I'll use the brush to then just press that eyeliner into my lash line. Gives you a much more defined line, and it keeps your eyeliner in the place you want it to be much better. So I love this for pencils. I also like it if I'm using a gel liner. To do my water line on my upper lid, you can actually wiggle this in right below your top eyelashes, and it'll give you a really deep, dark upper lash line. Now, my most used brush is my gel eyeliner brush. I just use a very skinny, thin brush like this. It's my favorite eyeliner brush. Not everybody works well with that, but there is that eyeliner brush too. Some people prefer to use an angled brush for their eyeliner. That is actually how I started applying gel eyeliner, and I think it can make a world of difference if you're new to gel eyeliner and just helping you get the correct application of it. This is an angled brush that I've had for a very long time. It's in pretty bad shape these days, but the angle can really help you to just draw your eyeliner out in the correct shape. So angled liner brushes are very popular. Then we have eyebrow brushes. Eyebrow brushes, I think the main difference really here is just about the thickness of the brush, depending on what you want to get out of it. So these are all 3 just angled brushes, and they're all awesome. And then last, I'll give you a rundown of my favorite face brushes, kind of my must-haves in facial makeup. So I really like anything that's going to give me a good blend quickly and with as little effort as possible. So like I said, I do teach elementary school full-time. I am always in a rush in the morning. I don't have a ton of time to be perfecting my highlight and my blush and my contour and all of that. So I need stuff that works quickly and works well the first time. So I don't typically use flat brushes for my foundation. I think that they're way too streaky. They don't give me the look that I want. I don't want to look like I have makeup caked on my face. I don't want lines. So I go with fluffier brushes for that. This is the closest thing that I own to a flat brush, and it is still not that flat. So this is a MAC 132 brush. You'll see a couple different ones of these that have a mix of the black and the white fibers. These brushes are great because they have synthetic and natural fibers both. So the synthetic fibers are going to be great for picking up your foundation, and the natural fibers are really great for blending everything out. So this is a flat brush that I will use if I really want to get a lot of coverage. So if I may be having a lot of breakouts or I'm trying to really conceal some of my acne scarring, this brush, while it does apply the foundation or the concealer more densely than my other brushes, it still isn't giving me a streaky, harsh application, and it has enough fluff to the fibers on the end that I can still soften it up. What I typically use are the 187 and 188 brushes from MAC. They're pretty much the same thing, just in different sizes. I use this one a lot in the spring. So I said I change up my foundation seasonally in another video. And this one I'll use a lot in the spring because my springtime foundation is a lot lighter than my wintertime foundation, and I don't have to be as precise or careful with it. So I'll use this larger brush because I get a super quick blend with it, and my makeup is easy enough to apply that I can get away with it in the spring. In the winter, my foundation is just a little bit heavier, and it can tend to streak more if I'm not careful. So I use a smaller brush because you have more precision and control over it. This brush, you can use it in a stippling motion, which will give you a lot of coverage. I tend to use it by just buffing in circles, which gives you an awesome blend, but also really great payoff for density of the product. I just have a basic powder brush. It's very large. It gets the job done quickly. This, just dust powder all over your face. But easily, my most favorite brush, it's a little bit wet right now, I just washed it, is the 138 brush from MAC. It has a dome shape to it, so because it's a little bit wet, you can actually see that very well. This gives you so much precision and control. So I use this brush every single day. If you need to highlight, contour, anything, it fits perfectly up under your eye with that dome shape there. It fits perfectly in your cheekbones here to contour. And because you can also blend with it, it's super soft, it's great for blending, but it also is dense enough that if you use it on its side, it gives you a fantastic color payoff. So I'll use it to highlight, I'll use it to contour, and then I'll use the side to pat on my blush. Another way I really love to use this brush is by rolling it. So when I use my Studio Fix powder, it's a heavier powder, it gives you a lot of color payoff. I can press this brush into the powder, and then I can roll it across those areas where I really need stronger coverage. And then I don't have to worry about if I have a clean sponge or not. I know my brushes are always clean, and so that is definitely my most used brush. Those are my most used brushes, and I also want to point out that I do also use the Beauty Blender. These are great for applying foundation, concealer, highlighter, anything. They have a great shape, so they get underneath your eye very well, around your nose very easily. They're super quick to use, so if you haven't tried a Beauty Blender, I do recommend giving it a try. I think that it's just as fast, if not faster, than my brushes in the morning. So that is all I have for you today. Those are my most used brushes and the reasons that I love each of them. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I would love to read your comments down below. And if there are any videos that you would like for me to make so that you can learn about something else in relation to makeup, please let me know. I would be very happy to make them for you. As always, thank you so much for stopping by my channel and watching my video. Bye.